Okay, can you see the screen? Okay, so yesterday's topic, that is stridor. It is a noise during respiration produced due to obstruction to the passage of air into or out from the lower respiratory tract. Okay, it is a noise that is produced during respiration because of any obstruction in the air passage. Okay, if there is any obstruction in the air passage, the noise that comes, that is called as stridor. Okay, the stridor may be inspiratory, it may be due to obstruction to the larynx. If there is any obstruction of larynx, then that is called as inspiratory stridor. Then expiratory stridor, it is due to obstruction in the bronchus. Okay, if there is any obstruction in the bronchus, then that is called as expiratory stridor. And mixed, that is both inspiratory and expiratory stridor. Then the etiological factors we have seen yesterday, the etiological factors. First is uh, laryngeal, and other one is extralaryngeal. So laryngeal factors, etiological factors include congenital, traumatic, inflammatory, and neurological. The congenital factors are, first one is laryngeal webs or laryngeal stenosis. If there is any congenital web-like tissue that is formed in the larynx, or if there is stenosis, that is um, narrowing of passage of larynx, then that may cause voice during respiration. Okay, it is a congenital condition. The next condition is laryngomalacia. That means it is a softening of tissue above the vocal cords. Okay, softening of the tissue of larynx, that is laryngomalacia. It is also a etiological factor of stridor. Then next one is laryngeal cyst. If there is any cyst in larynx, it will also produce noise. Then hemangioma of larynx and vocal cord paralysis. These are the congenital condition. Okay, if there is vocal cord paralysis, but if it is congenital, then it may also produce stridor. So these are the congenital condition. Next one is traumatic. Trauma, that means any injury to the larynx, like in birth injury or laryngeal injury due to intubation. While intubating, endotracheal tube जब पास करते हैं, then it may cause injury to the larynx. Or when there is any external trauma by burns or inhalation of fumes, that will also produce some injury to the larynx, and it will cause stridor. Then third one is inflammatory causes. Any inflammation to the larynx or any acute laryngotracheobronchitis, inflammation of larynx or trachea and bronchus. Then acute epiglottitis, inflammation of epiglottis, or laryngeal diphtheria. Then edema of larynx, or acute laryngitis, or laryngeal perichondritis. Okay, these are the inflammatory condition. In those conditions also, um, there will be stridor. Then fourth one is neurological condition, that includes vocal cord palsy. Okay, And other conditions like foreign body inhalation, if there is inhaled foreign body that is stuck into the larynx, it may also cause stridor. Or any tumor that is present in the larynx, it may be there may be multiple papillomas or carcinoma, that is malignancy may be present in the larynx, that will also produce stridor. Okay, these are the etiological factors of stridor. Any difficulty in etiological factors, laryngeal etiological factors? Then one more condition is present, that is laryngismus stridulus, that is spasm of larynx. Okay, these are the laryngeal etiological factors. Okay, any difficulty? Okay, then there are extra laryngeal factors that includes, first one is vascular loop or rings that are formed by great vessel around the larynx, or acute or chronic retropharyngeal abscess just behind the pharynx if there is any abscess that is formed, or Ludwig's angina if it is present, or third one is tumors, that is enlarged thymus, cystic hygroma, and esophageal foreign body in children. These are the extralaryngeal conditions. So yesterday's homework was, what is Ludwig's angina, what is thymus, and what is cystic hygroma? बोलो. पढ़ा कि नहीं पढ़ा? Yesterday's homework was Ludwig's. What is Ludwig's angina? What is thymus and what is cystic hygroma? बोलो. पढ़ा है कि नहीं पढ़ा है? कोई भी बात नहीं कर रहा है, कोई भी बोल नहीं रहा है, तो किसी ने भी नहीं पढ़ा है. हाँ बोलो फिर, पढ़ा कि नहीं पढ़ा? Okay, Ludwig's angina is infection on the floor of mouth underneath the tongue. Okay, that is Ludwig's angina, and that infection may spread to the um, in the larynx also, and that condition may also cause stridor. और ट्यूमर, थाइमस तो पता है सब लोगों को, नहीं पता है थाइमस? व्हाट इज थाइमस? एनाटॉमी. ओके, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को बोलो व्हाट इज थाइमस. ओके, कौन बोलेगा? Who will tell me about thymus? क्या? It is a okay. हाँ, तो enlarged thymus is, वो thymus मतलब बॉडी में कब तक रहता है, और when it shrink in size? What is the location of thymus? Where it is present? हम्म। ओके, किसी को भी नहीं पता है, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को बोलो थाइमस पढ़ के। अगर नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को किसी ने भी थाइमस के बारे में मुझे नहीं पता है तो मैं सबका एब्सेंट ही लगाऊंगी। ओके। Okay, next condition is cystic hygroma. It is a fluid filled sac. Okay, and that is because of blockage of हाँ, बोलो। नहीं। एक बार पढ़ के बताओ सब लोग, अभी नहीं, अभी मत देखो, बाद में नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को बोलो, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को बोलो, फिर से वापस पढ़ के। ओके। ओके, नेक्स्ट कंडीशन इज सिस्टिक hygroma. Okay, it is a fluid filled sac, and that is because of blockage of lymphatic system. Okay, so that this cystic hygroma, the location of cystic hygroma is mostly at the neck or in the head, but it may be present in other parts of body also. Mostly it is present surrounding the neck. That is a fluid filled sac, and that is because of blockage of lymphoid system. Okay. And last one is esophageal foreign body that is present in children. It may also cause stridor. Okay, these are the extralaryngeal conditions. हाँ, below the sternum. Oh, और shrink कब होता है वो? When it shrinks. When it shrink in size, thymus is located in, okay, up behind the sternum. और तुम्हारा आवाज ही क्लियर नहीं आता है। ओके, नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को बोलो व्हाट इज thymus. ओके, about the functions and okay, next point is diagnosis. uh, a careful history must be okay. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, till puberty it will shrink in size. Okay, next point is diagnosis. A careful history must be obtained regarding the onset and duration, that is whether the condition is congenital or acquired, whether the etiological factor that is congenital or acquired. So you should know the onset of the stridor and the duration. Then you have to take the history of sore throat or if there is any fever. Okay, whether it is inflammatory in origin, so you have to take the history of sore throat or fever. Then you have to take the history of foreign body inhalation or choking. And lastly, hoarseness or any other laryngeal complaint is there. Then so you have to take the detailed history of if the patient of stridor comes to you, you have to take the detailed history about the onset, the duration regarding the uh, whether it is congenital or whether it is acquired. Then you have to take the history of any infection, inflammation. So whether the patient is having sore throat or fever, or if there is any history of foreign body inhalation with coughing or choking. And lastly, hoarseness is whether the hoarseness is present or any other laryngeal complaint is present. Then you will come to the diagnosis of the case. Then clinical examination that will include observation of signs of respiratory distress or cyanosis, whether there is any respiratory distress is present, whether there is cyanosis that is present. Then you have to do the throat examination to rule out the retropharyngeal abscess, or if there is any diphtheric patch is present in the pharynx or in the larynx, and examination of the respiratory and cardiovascular system. And lastly, neck and laryngeal examination should be carried out. Okay, so these are the clinical examination of observation of signs of respiratory distress, whether there is any distress, respiratory distress is present, or cyanosis is present, or you have to do the throat examination to rule out the retropharyngeal abscess or any diphtheric patch that is present in the larynx or in the pharynx, or then you have to do the examination of respiratory tract as well as cardiovascular examination should be carried out. And lastly, neck and laryngeal examination. Then investigations uh, that has to be done are: first one is X-ray of soft tissue of neck, lateral view you have to take, then X-ray of chest, then a direct laryngoscopy and bronchoscopy to confirm the diagnosis, and CT scan. And lastly, treatment. The patient may need admission, or the patient should be must be admitted to the hospital if he is having respiratory distress or cyanosis. Then intubation is done, or tracheostomy, depending upon the symptoms that are present, to relieve the obstruction. If there is any obstruction that is present, then you have to do intubation or tracheostomy. In next lecture, I will take the tracheostomy. Okay, the procedure of tracheostomy. Then next is I oxygen is given to the patient if the cyanosis is present or respiratory distress is present. Then antibiotics if the patient is having any infection, then antibiotics are given, steroids, and lastly, the cause of the stridor should be treated. Okay, this is all about the stridor. Okay, next topic is hoarseness of voice. You can see the screen ना, slide दिख रहा है. Okay, so this is new topic, hoarseness of voice. Almost last topic from ENT. Okay, one more topic is remaining, that is tracheostomy, that I will take in next lecture. Okay, hoarseness of voice or hoarseness. Hoarse voice is a rough, unpleasant voice, and it results from lesion of vocal cords. If there is any lesion to the vocal cords, then the voice, the rough, unpleasant voice that is produced, that is called as hoarse voice. The causes of hoarseness, they may range from innocent acute laryngitis to laryngeal diphtheria. Okay, the causes ranges from acute laryngitis to laryngeal diphtheria and up to malignancy. If hoarseness persists for more than 2 weeks in spite of conservative treatment, then you should carry out the laryngeal examination to diagnose the cause. So there are various causes of hoarseness, just from acute laryngitis, laryngeal diphtheria up to malignancy, any malignant condition in the larynx. And if the hoarseness persists for more than 2 weeks in spite of the conservative treatment you have given, then you should carry out the examination of larynx to know or to diagnose the cause of the hoarseness. Okay, mechanism of hoarseness. Next point. Okay, when there is any interference with following, that may lead to hoarseness. So, if there is any interference of movements of vocal cords, or approximation of edges of vocal cords, or if there is any mass that is present in the vocal cord, or if there is any tension of vocal cords, then there will be hoarseness of voice. So causes will be related to these points, that is about the movements of vocal cords, approximation of edges of vocal cords, or if the mass is present in the vocal cords, or whether there is any tension of vocal cords. Okay, there are the next point is quality of voice. First one is hoarse voice, which is rough and unpleasant. Okay, hoarse voice is, it is rough and unpleasant. Then second one is muffled voice. It is produced by a space occupying lesion. ऐकायला येत नाहीये? आवाज येत नाहीये का माझा? Okay. Okay, quality of voice. It is, first one is hoarse voice. It is rough and unpleasant. Okay. Second one is muffled voice. Muffled voice is produced by a space occupying lesion in the laryngopharynx without involving the vocal cords, and it is called as hot potato speech. Okay, it is called as hot potato speech, and that is because the patient speaks as if he has a potato in his mouth, and which he is neither being swallowed or nor is being spit out. The patient having malignancy of the base of tongue or pyriform fossa may have such voice. ओके, मफल व्हॉइस कळालं का? समजते का आता? आता येतोय का क्लिअर व्हॉइस? आवाज येतोय का क्लिअर? Okay, so hoarse voice is rough and unpleasant. Muffled voice is produced by space occupying lesion in the laryngopharynx. Any space occupying lesion, if it is present in the larynx or in the pharynx, without involving the vocal cords, then muffled voice is muffled voice will be there, and muffled voice is like, yeah, it is called as hot potato speech, because patient speaks as if a hot potato is in his mouth, and which he neither being swallowed or nor is being spit out. The patients having malignancy of base of tongue or piriform fossa may have such voice. Then third voice is breathy voice of poor volume. Breathy voice is of poor volume and is produced by patient having vocal cord paralysis. Okay, if there is vocal cord paralysis, then there will be poor volume, and that voice is called as breathy voice. If there is uh, escape of air between the vocal cord. Okay, because of vocal cord paralysis, there will be escape of air between the vocal cords, and there will be a voice with poor volume, and that is called as breathy voice. Okay, these are the three qualities of voice: hoarse voice, muffled voice, and breathy voice. Then the causes of hoarseness. First one is laryngeal and laryngopharyngeal causes. It includes, first one is congenital, when there is any large web at the anterior commissure is present, which is very rare condition, or when there is congenital cyst or tumor, which is also very rare. The next one is traumatic causes, when there is misuse or overuse of voice, and that is because of speaking continuously or loudly may injure the vocal cords, and this is the common cause of hoarseness. Okay, the commonest cause is misuse or overuse of voice, speaking continuously or loudly, that will cause injury to the vocal cords. Singing in an improper manner or excessive coughing may also produce hoarseness of voice. Okay, other causes are singing in improper manner and excessive coughing will also produce hoarseness of voice. Then second one is external injuries. Okay, external injuries include strangulation, cut throat, or contusional injury of the larynx that will produce hematoma of vocal cords and may cause hoarseness. So, if there is any external injury by strangulation or by cut throat or any contusional injury of larynx, that will produce hematoma of the vocal cords, and that will lead to hoarseness of voice. The next one is internal injuries. Internal injuries include inhalation of hot acid fumes. Okay, inhalation of hot acid fumes will produce edema and inflammation of larynx. Okay, by inhalation of hot acid fumes, that will lead to edema of larynx and as well as inflammation of larynx, and it will produce hoarse voice. The next one is irradiation that may also damage the vocal cords. And lastly, intubation trauma. Use of large laryngeal tube or rough intubation or prolonged intubation will also tear a vocal cord, and that will lead to granuloma formation and stenosis. Okay, these are the traumatic causes. First one is a misuse or overuse of voice. Speaking continuously or loudly, or it is also seen in singers who sing improperly, or when there is excessive coughing, that will cause hoarseness. Then next one is external injuries. External injury that includes strangulation, cut throat, or any contusional injury of the larynx. Then internal injury, it will include inhalation of hot acid fumes These hot acid fumes will produce edema and inflammatory changes in larynx, and irradiation may also damage the vocal cords. And lastly, intubation trauma. While intubating, while inserting endotracheal tube, uh, if it may be if it is larger in size, or with the rough intubation or prolonged intubation, that will tear the vocal cord, or it may lead to granuloma formation and stenosis. This is these are the traumatic causes. Next one is infection. Okay, first we have seen congenital causes, second one is traumatic, and third one is infection, that is laryngitis. First one is acute laryngitis. It may be non-specific, that is viral or bacterial laryngitis, that will produce temporary hoarseness, which will usually follow an attack of common cold, and this is the commonest cause of hoarseness. Okay, so when there is infection, the acute laryngitis is the commonest cause, or if there is any injury, and the injury may be because of misuse or overuse of voice, that is one of the commonest cause of hoarseness. So first one is acute laryngitis. Then second one is diphtheria with membrane formation on the vocal cords that may produce hoarseness, stridor, or inspiratory dyspnea. So diphtheria, if the patient is having diphtheria, there will be a membrane formation on the vocal cords, and that will produce hoarseness of voice, or then stridor and inspiratory dyspnea. And third one is acute laryngotracheobronchitis that occur in children, and they will produce hoarseness with inspiratory as well as expiratory dyspnea. If the laryngotracheobronchitis, if it is present in children, there will be inspiratory as well as expiratory dyspnea. The next one is chronic laryngitis. Chronic, it will include non-specific and specific conditions. Non-specific are chronic non-specific laryngitis and leukoplakia of vocal cords. It is usually associated with smoking, and it is a pre-malignant condition. Leukoplakia is a pre-malignant condition seen mostly in the patient who smoke. Okay, so these are the two non-specific conditions: chronic non-specific laryngitis and leukoplakia. And specific conditions, these are rare, like tuberculosis, syphilis, leprosy, lupus, or scleroma of larynx. Then there will be hoarseness of voice. So, third etiological factor is infection. Infection, under the heading of infection, there are two causes: acute laryngitis and chronic laryngitis. Acute will include acute laryngitis, diphtheria, and acute laryngotracheobronchitis. And chronic laryngitis will include non-specific and specific condition. Non-specific conditions are chronic non-specific laryngitis and leukoplakia, and specific are tuberculosis, syphilis, leprosy, lupus, and scleroma. Now, fourth etiological factor is tumor. It will include benign tumor and malignancy of larynx or laryngopharynx. Okay, benign tumors like cysts, chondroma, fibroma, myoma, etc. These are rare conditions. But if there is any benign tumor, that will cause hoarseness. And second one is malignancy of larynx or laryngopharynx. Malignancy of vocal cords produce hoarseness at earliest, while other types of malignant lesions like sometimes to produce hoarseness. This cause should always be ruled out in the elderly patients. whose hoarseness is not relieved by conservative treatment within the 2 weeks. Okay, if the patient is elderly. Okay, next condition is malignancy of larynx or laryngopharynx. When there is आवाज येतोय ना? आवाज येतोय का? Okay, malignancy of vocal cords that will produce hoarseness at the earliest. Okay, when there is any malignancy of vocal cords, there will be hoarseness at the earliest. While if there is any other malignant lesion, then it will take some time to produce hoarseness. And this cause should be always be ruled out in an elderly patient. If the patient is elderly with hoarseness of voice, and if you give the treatment, conservative treatment for 2 weeks, and if it is not relieved, if the hoarseness is not relieved, then you should rule out the malignancy. Okay, next is miscellaneous conditions. First one was congenital, second one was क्या था traumatic causes, then infections, then tumors, and fifth one is miscellaneous causes. It includes Singer's nodes. Uh, this is the commonest cause of chronic hoarseness, and this is characterized by. Okay, singer's note, it is characterized by a nodule on the edges of both vocal cords at the junction of anterior third and middle third. So this is one of the cause, that is singer's note. Next one is laryngeal edema, may be due to the causes like infections, neoplasm, trauma or allergy, or some cardiac lesions and obstruction to superior vena cava. So these are the causes of laryngeal edema. If the laryngeal edema is present, then also patient will have hoarseness of voice. The next one is laryngeal polyp, that may also cause hoarseness of voice. Then laryngeal stenosis may be produced by prolonged endotracheal intubation. If there is prolonged endotracheal intubation, then it will cause laryngeal stenosis, or if there is any cut throat injury or scleroma, syphilis or perichondritis, that will produce laryngeal stenosis, and a patient will have stridor as well as hoarseness of voice. The next condition is paralysis of recurrent laryngeal nerve, that will also produce hoarseness of voice. Next one is functional aphonia. If the female comes with sudden loss of voice or with voice reduced to whisper, this condition should be kept in mind. She does not have hoarseness of voice. It is a functional aphonia. The next one is laryngocele, that is prolongation of ventricle, which is a very rare condition, and prolapse of ventricle of larynx is, it is uncommon. Okay, uh, so these are the laryngeal conditions, laryngeal and laryngopharyngeal condition: congenital, traumatic condition, infections, tumors and miscellaneous condition. Just remember about the singer's note and laryngeal edema or laryngeal polyp and laryngeal stenosis. Okay. Then other causes includes esophageal causes. Esophageal causes, malignancy may produce recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. If there is any malignancy, that may produce recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. Or cervical and mediastinal causes will include, these may also lead to recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy, and therefore there will be hoarseness of voice. And other general causes that will include edema, that is myxedema, cardiac edema or renal edema may also cause hoarseness. And also other diseases like diabetes, syphilis or lead poisoning may also result in recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy. So any difficulty in etiological factors? Is there any difficulty? Most common causes you have to remember: the trauma, congenital causes also rare, infections, trauma, tumors, and miscellaneous condition like singer's node and laryngeal edema. Okay. Then investigations for hoarseness or voice are similar to those of uh, laryngeal nerve palsy. The investigations are uh, like thyroid function test or thyroid scan may be required. Then radiography, plain radiograph of larynx, then CT scan, direct laryngoscopy and microlaryngoscopy. Okay. Thyroid test, radiography, CT scan, direct laryngoscopy and microlaryngoscopy. Then the treatment, the specific treatment is one should treat the specific cause of the hoarseness. If you know the specific cause of hoarseness, you have to treat that cause. Then general treatment includes, it is basically similar to those of laryngitis, acute laryngitis, that is voice rest. Patient should avoid misuse or overuse of voice. He should speak in conversational voice in a relaxed manner, and whispering is also traumatic to the vocal cords, and that should be avoided. And in severe cases, total voice rest is advised. The next one is steam inhalation, that will soothe the vocal cords and it will reduce the congestion. Okay, steam inhalation causes soothing to the vocal cords and it will reduce the congestion. And one may add a tincture benzoin, menthol, or camphor, or eucalyptus oil to the boiling water for steam inhalation. Then antibiotics may be prescribed to control the infection. If infection is present, you have to give antibiotics. Then anti-inflammatory agents are given to reduce the edema and congestion. Then speech therapy is advised. The patient is taught to speak in relaxed manner without straining to the vocal cords. Okay. So this is all about the hoarseness of voice. Okay, treatment I will repeat once again. Specific treatment, one should treat the specific cause. If you know the cause, then you have to treat the cause first. Then general treatment will include, it is same as that of laryngitis. It will include voice rest, steam inhalation, antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, and speech therapy. Okay. Okay, is there any difficulty? Is there any difficulty? Is there any difficulty? बोलो. नो. तो पढ़ाई चालू किया कि नहीं सब लोगों ने? कि सेकेंड ईयर का पढ़ रहे हो, समर बैच? क्या पढ़ रहे हो, सेकेंड ईयर का या थर्ड ईयर का? ओके, कुछ भी नहीं पढ़ रहे हो. चले, ठीक है, चलो, आई विल एंड द मीटिंग ना.
हिंदीत का बोलते हैं, सगळे हिंदी समजतात काय?